And that's any type of growth, abnormal growth. And so whenever our client pretty much has growth on them, they can fall in some of the terms that we see before. So the one we'll need to know is bullet number 4, which is the keratoma. A keratoma is basically acquired whenever friction or pressure is involved. And so this is how our clients basically have an inward thickening of the skin, which is basically your, or clients, corns. And that is something, again, that would be inward thickening of skin. So a little bit different from a callus. It's kind of like the opposite of a callus. Because the thickening is happening on the inside. You also have things like the moles. Of course, your moles are nevus, if you will. They can range in different colors, resembling freckles as well. Sometimes they're raised, sometimes they're darker, but sometimes it's common to even have hair come from them as well. But what the main thing though, when it comes down to moles, especially if it's one that just kind of popped up, we're going to be visiting that where it comes into the cancers and being able to detect if it's just a mole or if it's something that we should be concerned about as it relates to cancers. But nevertheless, go ahead and also highlight verruca on the bottom of page 267, also known as a wart. And so, yes, this is infectious. This is contagious. Yes, it can spread. It can spread. So when we think about some of the things, we can work on and some of the things we can't work on, although all of it's classified as diseases and disorders, there are things we can consider working on. But a verruca is definitely one you definitely want to make sure you don't touch that. They got a really good picture here at the bottom of page 267 as well as it relates to the verruca. And it kind of is like almost cauliflower-like on the client's skin. So it does kind of look like a callus, but calluses are smooth. But whenever you're starting to see this thickened skin on our client, is abnormal growth, and it pretty much has that cauliflower effect to it, more than likely that just might be a wart, again, which is contagious. Now, speaking of contagious, let's go on over to page 268. Conjunctivitis is basically also known as pink eye. Go ahead and note that. So pink eye is something that we are familiar with. It could be bacterial or viral infection, but it is, again, contagious. They mentioned some other ones like herpes. They mentioned Tenay, which is a fungal infection. Again, all of these guys are just contagious. So whenever we have clients coming in, of course, and we're analyzing them with our natural eye and or the mag light, anything that's outside of normal should be a red flag. So any, again, inflammation, any skin tags, moles, anything other than clear skin, and you're seeing markings on them, this is where you kind of want to run into some of the terms that we're talking about: primary, secondary, inflammation of the skin, contagious diseases. Some of these things should just kind of run through your mind. But when you're starting to see things like basically like blisters, and then it's associated with redness and warmth, and obviously that's a case where we just cannot proceed. And most times it just might be something that is contagious, or we can't work on it. If you ever had a ringworm, Tenay pedis, again, that's going to be characterized by itchiness, if you will, patches. Those actual patches pretty much are raised around the border. Kind of looks kind of dry as well, but it's not a matte look to it, but it kind of has that wet look to that particular patch. And again, that's just known as a fungal infection. Many images are available. Obviously, you can just Google kind of what that looks like. But every time, you compare that with, you're looking at it with your own eyes, it's a little bit different. But at the end of the day, you just want to be mindful of certain things that's floating around, and fungal infections like ringworm is definitely one of them. Mm-hmm. Now, over on page 269 is Tanae versicolor. Now, this is actual a fungal condition that is not contagious, and it's characterized because it can be either like white, it can be kind of brown, and sometimes it can even be like a salmon color. But the thing about this guy is that it will come and go depending on the season. So, for the most part, this client may have this in the summer months where it's more agitated, but then it goes away in the winter months, and vice versa. So it's kind of like on a cycle, for lack of a better word, because due to the seasons is when it reoccurs, just due to the season. So that's how you will be able to differentiate. Do I have ringworms? Because you'll start to notice these same type of patches, if you will kind of just reoccur due to seasons changing. Now, although it is a fungal condition, those actual spots, though, are just really caused by yeasts. And up under the topic of fungal, you're housing mildew, molds, and yeasts. So whenever we have that specifically, that's going to be catered to more caused by yeast, which is all up under the fungal family. All up under the fungal family. All right. Now, I like on the same page, I'm sorry, 269 on the top. I like that activity because I like the way they pretty much list the items that we pretty much have gone through, and the items that we are currently going through, where it gives us an idea of the primary lesion. It kind of gives us an idea with the secondary lesions, examples of the contagious, examples of the inflammation, hypertrophies, glands, and pigments. So this, to me, for studying purposes, will kind of help learn the lesions. If you can kind of put them in categories similar to what this is kind of giving us a little template on, that's just to kind of put everything collectively together. For me, it just helps with retention to kind of see things in certain orders. And this is a good one that I gravitate to on the top of page 269. All right. All right. So let's go into some of the facts. I know part of the homework you had went to the actual website and you had noted some real good ones on your actual homework. But in addition to some of those skin cancer facts, we will need to know the second bullet, that death from skin cancer occurs at the rate of 1 death per hour in the United States, among many of the ones that you've seen even on that website. It's just some interesting facts even on here and also on the website that you have visited as well. Where we're considering 8,000 deaths happening every year just due to melanoma. So the skin cancers alone is really taking people out. And a lot of the facts that's present here, as well as the website you have visited for your homework assignment, I'm sure you've seen as well, is quite interesting when we think about how much this is affecting the United States as a whole. So again, some real good, interesting facts also found here, but bullet 2 is the one we will need to know. So basal cell carcinoma, squamous cell carcinoma, I'll let you read those two at your leisure. Malignant melanoma, you understand the difference between benign and malignant? All right, so we know one is bad and one is good. Malignant is bad, benign is cool. So back to like the mold. So when a client or yourself notices a marking on your body, it will help to be mindful of the American Cancer Society's recommendation, this checklist here on 271. Go ahead and note what the letter A stands for, because you will need to know that for the test. And A stands for asymmetry. The two sides of the lesions are not identical. And so most times when a marking on your body is symmetric, it's the same pretty much around the border. But if you have a smaller side of that circle, a larger side of that same little mole, same little circle, that might be one of the things you can check off as it pertains to this, this cancer checklist. B standing for border, C standing for color, D standing for the diameter, and then E represents evolving. Is it changing? Is it getting bigger? Is it shifting? Is it the color even changing? Is it raising? Those type of things is what we will need to consider. But again, any changes to these characteristics, again, you want to be able to notify a doctor at that point in time. Okay. You want to be able to notify a doctor. And so with the examples below, you're able to see basically a mole that is benign, that is normal. So it's pretty much symmetrical. But then when you drop down a bit, you can see how it becomes not so symmetrical. It's no definitive shape. And so even with the middle picture, you see how the actual mole, speaking of color now, is one shade. But then when you come down to the cancerous one, you can kind of see about 2, maybe 3 tones in there, the way it's fading out. And so that's why that will pretty much gives us a telltale sign. And then now when we look at the last image on the top, we're still looking at a mole, but we're looking at the edges of the mole. And so when the edges of the mole pretty much flare out, then we kind of are dealing with uneven edges, which again will be a telltale sign. So this chart kind of puts it in perspective as well, how tight and neatly non-cancerous moles should be, down to the solid color, down to the solid shape, down to the border. But then when you drop down to the bottom, it almost looked like an infected mole. It just kind of flared all throughout the skin. Again, these are just telltale signs as it relates to the different cancerous or non-cancerous moles. All right. So before we get into acne and wrap up chapter 11, we will leave off on acne, and the assignment that we have today is packaged with the acne. So we'll leave off and then pick up there. I just want to recap just a few things that we covered here, just to ensure we pretty much were able to hold on to a few bits and pieces here. All right. Describe hyperpigmentation and hypopigmentation.
Hyper is excessive pigment, and hypo is a lack of pigment.
Nice. What's another name for a wart? We just covered that one, so if you don't remember. It starts with a V. V as in Victor, if that helps trigger something. Veruca. Yeah, that's close enough. Yeah, you could have said element of P, that would have been perfect.
Paper towel.
Right. All right. If I am a corn, an inward callus, what is that called? Starts with a K. Keratoma. All right. So let's see. Oh, yeah. So when we're speaking about hyperpigmentation, we were learning about chlasma being these little brown spots or liver spots, and they could be suntan spots from the sun. But what about if my client just had a baby, or maybe she is pregnant? What is the name of that chlasma?
Starts with an M.
All right, all right.
Melasma.
Melasma, good. There you go, there you go. All right. All right, so now since we understand a bit about the hyperpigmentation, let me give you a question on the hypopigmentation. What about if my client is lacking pigment? I'm talking about hair, the skin, maybe even the eyes, eyeballs as well. All right. Okay. If my client has extreme redness, dilated blood vessels in his or her skin, who am I? Extreme redness, dilated blood. Mhm. Good. Folliculitis. Folliculitis. What can you remember about that? You hear the word follicle, but folliculitis will be what? As it pertains to inflammation of the skin. That topic, folliculitis.
It has pus.
Okay. It's definitely a bacterial infection. Mhm. Yep. It has that infection all down in the follicles. Okay. All right. Let me go to some of the primary lesions. I'm gonna do a little bit on secondary lesions, and then we'll come back to acne. With the primary lesions, if I am a closed sac up under the skin, who am I? A closed sac up under the skin, different from a bulla, because the bulla is above. You got some liquid in there, a little bit of a sac, but this sac is up under the skin.
Pustule.
It contains fluid, so I won't say a pustule because that'd be more like white cells or infection, stuff like that. That'll be a cyst. A cyst. So that's something you can just come back around again, so you can see the difference on those two. All right. What about if my client purposely scrapes off her scabs and scars? She just purposely just picks. Now, we're not talking about escoration where that's the result of a scratch. Escoration, I can almost hear scratch with that, but escoration, scratch, that's just the actual scratching marks. But what about if she actually picks the marks?
Starts with an
I know that's right. Acne, escoration.
A. I would know it if I'd seen it.
Uh-huh.
I can't.
I got you freestyle off the top of your head. That's like somebody knowing how to rap. You really know how to rap if you can freestyle.
Yeah.
But you still got people that don't freestyle and still get paid. So, but I get it. So if you can freestyle, you don't. That's all I'm saying. That take a talent like the freestyle. But what I like about it, even if you can remember a letter or two freestyling, that makes it 100% better when you have A, B, C, D in front of you as an option. So that makes it more like you got it. So that's good. All right. That one. All right. And the last one, if my client, and I'm talking about secondary lesions, again, if my client has dry or chapped lips or hands, what is that called?
Ash.
That part. That part. Good and ashy. It starts with an F as in Frank. That works. Fisher. All right. So let's go ahead and wrap up chapter 11. If you can, meet me on page 272. Once I get done with the next page or two, day shift, we will go back into 21 to try to wrap that on up, if I may. And then that'll allow us some time to review, prepare to study out, to get out of chapter 21, because one of these weeks I have to fit in 2 chapters, where the remaining will be 1 chapter a week because we still have the final remaining. And so when we go to you and Lexus, you and I, when we go to 272, we know about acne, but I want us to understand the causes of acne. So let's go right on there and let's highlight reasons why people have acne. It can be genetics or hereditary. Clogged follicles, meaning they don't exfoliate, they don't clean them, they just take a rag or something to it, really not getting into the follicles. It can be bacteria, just dirt, dirty sheets, foams, things that's not clean around you. And then lastly, reasons why people have acne is because triggers happen. Stress, people have acne. Cosmetics, products people using, this is why they might have acne. Hormones, this is another reason. Products, even food. So whenever we are trying to identify why a person has acne, we're going to be within the 4 options for the most part. We have to be able to narrow down and eliminate rather, what the causes of this person's acne may be. So again, genetics or hereditary, clogged pores, bacteria, and then just certain triggers. Food, stress, hormones, products, so on and thus forth. All right. All right. And so they have terms like pilosebaceous units. I'll let you read it at your leisure. It just kind of talks about the entire follicle, which is, of course, including the hair shafts and those type of things. In which is the whole, basically the whole unit is involved in that acne. Retention hyperkeratosis, you can read that at your leisure. I want to come on over though to page 273, and I want to go up under the topic of bacteria and move to the last paragraph there and highlight this. Cysts are nodules made up of deep pockets of infection. Skin forms hardened tissue around the infection to stop the spread of bacteria, which can lead to both depressed and raised scars from damage to the dermal tissue. All right, because it is in the dermis, this variety of acne called cystic acne can be treated only by a physician. And the main thing is because it can be so deep in the skin where you're trying to extract and do all of these crazy things. Be mindful, some of us client-wise, you can't always extract, but if those cysts are lying low, you kind of want to make sure they visit their doctor. And so we also went over the triggers for acne. We talked about hormones being one. But because we're speaking about hormones, let's go to page 272, because we will need to note when it comes down to adult acne, which is more common in females than males, that hormonal acne is often seen on the chin. So if you were ever asked, if acne is on my chin, what is that indicating of? Your acne is due to hormonal reasons or triggers. Okay, hormones. Now, again, hormones, that could be, around your period, menopause, around that time. It can happen at different stages in life where your hormones are just pretty much are changing up on you. Stress, we already talked about. Of course, different products can also aggravate acne, so we want to be mindful of that. Food, of course, spicy foods, excessive salt is another one that can really agitate your skin or your client's skin. And so they recommend on the top of 275, of course, just eating fresh, eating good, and all of that will help with the breakouts. And then I like the fact that they have other irritations that could possibly be. Again, foams, wearing hats all the time, and this is considered acne mechanica breakout. So pillowcases, makeup, all of these things that should be cleaned on a regular basis can be a reason why a person also breaks out. And so in conclusion, with chapter 11, diseases and disorders, there are 4 grades of acne. You want to know that they are broken down into 4 grades, not 3, not 8, not 2, not 7, but 4. And it ranges from minor to more advanced cystic acne. So that's something you want to keep in mind. And that's when we're dealing with inflammation. That's when we're dealing with redness, pustules, papules, a combination of all when we're talking about stage 4, if you will, grade 4. And then all in between, you'll find grade 2 and grade 3. And that wraps up 11. All right. If you don't have any questions, day class, if you can, let's go on into chapter 21 and let's add on a few more things here. Between this week and next week, I have to be able to squeeze in 2 chapters, so that way we can have the rest of the 2 weeks with a chapter per week, and then we will have time for our final. So let's go right back into 21. And we're going to note a few things in here as well. Now, a lot of the upcoming topics in 21, again, is all about your career planning and how we prepare ourselves for the next stages, if you will, after class. And this is what I'm looking forward to when we go to our field trip on Monday with Tamika. She's really excited. She wants you guys to just observe her working and being in action. And she really wants to talk about pointers as it relates to how she networks and how she kind of markets and the importance of certain things that she does to try to bring her clientele in. So she'll be also tapping on this as well. But when it comes down to where we left off with the resumes, we already know that the employer will pretty much take about 20 seconds to scan a resume. So we want to be able to position ourselves to where we put the heart of what we need on that resume. We were speaking about that earlier with like transferable skills, things that can make it over to your resume. And so when we come on over to page 632, if you are, and I'm going to the last paragraph right above the topic of the resume checklist. So that paragraph right above that, let's highlight this. If you are applying for your first position as an esthetician, continue highlighting that you may be concerned that your qualifications are inadequate compared to those of more seasoned estheticians. So do not let this discourage you. Many employers are looking for eager self-starters. If you are in a position, if this is a question, to hire somebody, would you rather hire someone that is fresh out of school, or would you prefer to hire somebody that is considered seasoned?
Depends on what my staff is looking like and how many people I already got in there.
Give me an idea what you mean.
So
what would be your standard? Let me do it that way. What would be your standard in your hiring practices?
I would do both. If someone seasoned came in and needed some space and they were good, I would definitely see if there was any. If I had it, I would offer them. Now, if it came down to at the same time and there was only one position available,
what would you choose?
I would choose the one that came out of school.
Okay, why is that?
Because they need a chance, and who's going to give them a chance? And I've been there before. I got the experience, and just because they went to school, just finished school, don't mean that they're not just as good as this person who is seasoned already. They just have the license to work now.
Absolutely.
So just schooling don't mean anything, but the one fresh out of school is going to have the freshest ideas. They just learned a lot. The one that seasoned is gonna be stuck in their way of doing things, might not even really be into the industry and going to events.
Yeah.
Where the newest one out of school is so enthused that they ready to explore and offer so much and probably continue to learn so much. So that person coming from school, I think, would be a little more easier to work with than the person who's
Easier to
been
mold
seasoned.
them a lot better than somebody coming in.
Seasoned, they already stuck in their ways. You've been doing this for 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
You might not be up with the new things. And I've heard hairstylists say that. Like, I'm like, girl, you still doing roller sets?
Right.
Instead of just working on older people?
Right.
Like, I said something about a sew-in, and she's like, what is that? And what was it? It was something simple, a simple term of something that was trending that was going on. And I'm like, but you do sew in hair, but you're not familiar with this term.
Right.
So that
it was a closure.
Okay.
Yeah, a closure.
Okay.
And so it was like, okay, you've been doing this for over 25 years, but how are you not knowing this trending term, but you're doing half? So, you know what I'm saying? So again, that's like a seasoned person might not be trying to jump on board, whereas here we are fresh and new.
Ready to soak it all up.
Soak it all up. So if it came down to one position and I had to choose between the two, I would go with the student. But if I had multiple positions available, I would definitely do both. Yeah, I'm giving everybody a chance.
I'm with you. Anybody else got something different?
I think a seasoned person will want to get paid more.
Okay, so you'll see that as a disadvantage?
I mean, if I was,
or as an advantage, meaning you won't have to be able to, you don't have to walk them through everything. They pretty much can hold it down. You don't have to be able to, monitor everything.
Yeah.
What's your position?
Well, I mean, both are,
beneficial,
but with a seasoned person, they're gonna want a specific pay, and they might be stuck in their ways, like Kiana said, and that's really it.
Gotcha. Because I guess it could be considered. I mean, you can look at it also like a disadvantage and an advantage. You know, because some people may feel.
I didn't think about that when you said the pay either.
Yeah, they're gonna probably want something a little bit more. But then again, you might not have to monitor as much as you would have to, mentor along the way. So that's something to think about. If you even had a time to do so, if you will. Right. I'm thinking about what you think, Larry. What would you say?
I would take the one fresh out of school.
More moldable, trainable.
And they're gonna be fresh on it. Like, even like with the shop I'm in now, like the daughter of the shop owner, she's on it. Like, take them brushes out the barber side. It's been 10 minutes. Like,
right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
She's
like,
on it. Like, she
got you.
She called her mom and she was like, why you didn't take the brushes out the barber side? Like, you left them in, they've been in there since earlier. And then she was like, when you was sitting there talking to Lyric, you could have took them out, rinsed them off, dried them out, and put them in the autoclave.
Wow.
So it was like, and like whenever she does a pedicure, even if she doesn't do it immediately, like after she's done with the pedicure, like if she does the pedicure first, then the nails, she still goes back and take the jet apart, clean, like she does the whole, like fresh out of school thing, the thing that you do when you in school.
Gotcha.
And I don't know if it's because that's how she was taught in school and it's her mom's shop, so the shop didn't have to teach her their way of doing it.
Right.
But it's more, but I see it as being one of those things where because you're fresh out of school, you're on top of it. Like you ain't getting comfortable because this is what you have to do.
I'm with you.
Versus when you're seasoned, like when I came out of school, I didn't go work in nobody's shop. I worked for myself.
Got you.
So not that I didn't know how to clean stuff, but I was more lazy. Like my to be disinfected wasn't labeled to be disinfected because I knew that it was dirty.
I got you. And you work it by yourself too.
Yeah, but still, it's really not no excuse. Like, so then going into a shop, if you come in, if I'm coming into your shop and you like, where's your to be disinfected? Is this dirty or is this clean?
Right.
I could see myself probably getting a little irritated because you worried about the wrong stuff. Just know I'm not using the dirty on like as being seasoned because I've been working for myself and I got my own routine.
That could be a disadvantage, absolutely. Because like you said, because I already know, I know it's clean, but at the same time, you're not following the 100% protocol. Right. It need to be labeled,
And that's why when you just said like, would you have to monitor the newer one? Nah, I would have to be monitoring that old one to make sure that you're doing stuff right. Because I would think because you're so used to doing things your way. I'm going to be on you to make sure
I
that you
agree.
understand our way.
I agree.
This is
I
our
feel like
way.
Even like when it comes down to the pay, like I just think about myself. Like if I go to a shop, yeah, I've been doing nails for a while, so I would want to get paid more. Like when I went to LA, they was only paying $16 an hour. I stuck with it for about a month. It wasn't worth it for me because this my whole check.
Right.
I'm so used to making what you just paid me for 2 weeks in 3-4 days.
Gotcha.
And I had to wait on it. So yeah, I did want to be paid a little bit more because there was
Yeah.
girls in there that was getting paid more than me that was doing less than me.
Mm.
So it's like one of them things, but I'm like, if I was fresh out of school, this would be perfect because I would be able to learn and experience.
Right. And you're able to, and you really will soak it up as well versus somebody that's just been 2 seasons.
And I don't want to say stuck in your ways because it's not stuck in your ways. You're just used to doing something a certain way.
Especially
You
the
just
work
be
too.
moldable and teachable.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. It could be a certain attitude that comes along with it. In my experience, it'd be certain attitudes or just content in doing things the way you are used to doing them because you've been doing them so long. So it definitely has its pluses and its minuses. So when I think about I'm thinking about if I have a teacher, like for an example, who has been doing it for years versus a new teacher. Older teachers, yeah, they got the flow, they got you need something, sweetie?
Is that the barn door?
On the in the file cabinet, the right hand file cabinet, the very bottom one, you should see the scissors and the glue in between the little buckets. But when I think about a seasoned educator, it makes it easier to pay them with their worth, and you can trust the processes of that whole operation of your school, of your class. Is covered without you like being on standby. This is my experience. So then when it's somebody new, it's almost like, yeah, you got to show them the way, but at the same time, they're absorbing everything, which is definitely a plus. But it just has its pluses and minuses.
so you would rather take the seasoned teacher over the new teacher?
I would take a seasoned teacher over a new teacher, but I would take a new practitioner over an old practitioner as it relates to services.
Now, yeah, when you come to that, now, yeah, we going with the seasoned teacher because you.
But see, it's kind of still like I say half and half because I have had seasoned teachers, but I have had seasoned teachers that have come in and they want to do their own thing. So
you said you would take the new practitioner?
Yeah. If I'm hiring you to do a hair service, a nail service, a skincare service, I will want somebody out of school.
Okay, but what if you get in service? If you get in service, what you want?
If I'm getting a service done, I don't care.
Okay.
I don't know, but it'll make me a difference.
Lord, I'm gonna tell you when
I
I
had
went to
people
the
that been
dentist.
doing stuff for years, raggedy, and then people that just learned, killing them, and vice versa.
Our dentist
feel like-
is a school. They have students coming in there, and the first time when they told me the student, I freaked out.
Did you?
Yes, Miss Danny, because I was.
You like I don't feel like practicing.
I'm already.
But no, so
anxious
you don't
about
feel like
going-
that about with the nails, the hair, and
No. My hair, that's something different. You in my mouth, these medicines, these needles, and all these picks and
You
everything.
say too much on the line with that.
Yeah.
With I mean, as a whole,
It was when they told me the students, I was jumped up out of that. I was like, "No, I'm coming back. The doctor coming in. We gonna reschedule an appointment."
I don't want to
do nothing.
I don't want to be.
They just observe and ask.
Once they get that practice.
No, once they able to
Yeah,
practice,
start
they in there practicing on you. And the doctor,
They
the
do their
dentist,
intern.
I don't even think the dentist was in there. It was the dental assistant in there with them watching. Like, hold on.
You was still.
So
I don't want to be. Like if you're new at doing nails or waxing or. You could do a facial, yeah. I mean, it ain't too much with a facial. But if you knew and you tell me that you knew and I feel like you knew, I don't want you to do it because you telling me that you're new is you not being confident. I wouldn't know that you're new. How would I know that you're new?
But why would me
why you
say
feel
new feeling confident? I tell
Why you
people
saying
I'm
that
new in
makes-
the game. That don't mean I'm not
Why you say
confident.
that makes that person feel like you might not be confident if I'm telling you I'm new?
Because I wouldn't. If you're confident, I wouldn't know that you're new.
No,
Who's
people
wrong with
telling that's verse. If I say I can tell you like, oh, I'm a new esthetician. I just finished school a couple of weeks ago. So me telling you that makes you feel I'm not confident in what I'm doing. I'm just
Yeah, that's
just
me off a bit
a
too.
conversation.
Yeah.
Like So that must be how you feel when you say you
I
knew
don't tell
when you
people
was
that
young.
I'm new. I've never told people that.
So if somebody
that I
say
was
how
new.
long do you, I mean, I get you with just coming out saying that, but are you saying that even if you ask, or if somebody
If you
asks?
ask, yeah, but usually people don't say you knew. They might be like, if it's your first time client after they've been seeing your work for a while, obviously they like what they see. They're not gonna say you knew. No,
It's not like that. It comes. I guess what I'm thinking
I'm
about
not.
is
But
in
what I'm saying
conversation
is the
how people
conversation
be like.
going. You can go somewhere and they say, I'm a new nail tech, so bear with me. That means you're not that confident. If you're telling, if you're volunteering, no, I'm saying if you come out and say, if I'm out to get my hair color, I'm
new girl, so just bear with me.
I'm not gonna want you to practice on me.
So even if you want something and I don't have something and I say I'm new, I don't have all those colors, that still mean I'm not confident?
That's different. What I just
I get what you're saying, but I'm asking. Okay, I was asking and adding
different.
something else.
That's saying you don't have your
So
inventory.
basically, for an example, if I'm coming in and I'm getting a facial done, and I did my consultation with this person, and I say, okay, just go ahead and meet me in the back. I'm gonna go ahead and wash my hands, and I'll be right with you. And so once I sit my client down, and I'm saying, are you ready to begin? But I'm a new esthetician, but we're gonna get through this.
That's making me feel like you're not that confident.
That's what you're saying. That's why you tell me.
Yeah,
that you knew is because you may have some hiccups or something.
Right.
But if I say, oh, well, how long have you been doing aesthetics? You say,
a couple months.
Oh, you're my first client. I'm gonna say, oh, okay, well, let's roll through it. But if you voluntarily say,
I get what you said that way. That's why I was like, hold on.
Because people,
if you ask me, I'm supposed to lie and say,
no, but it's when you voluntarily say,
I got what you're saying.
Like
that.
So
maybe
the way you say it, but I don't feel like that's less confident when you say I'm new. Because even when
I
think she's saying
anxiety
when you just
volunteer,
like she said, like how her thing was.
Not even then. Like if I'm new, regardless of
volunteering.
if I don't feel right. Like if I'm new to doing nails, not that I'm
not confident.
Not
it's
confident,
just that
I
maybe
just want
you
you
might
to know
be
just in
expecting
case,
something.
yeah.
She might not go
Don't have
as
no high
fast.
expectations.
Yeah.
Maybe they might feel.
But you can't have high
not
expectations
confident.
with seniorized nail techs or vetted nail techs or anything. Like you gotta lower your like Chandel, for instance.
They be late.
Chandel, for instance.
Man.
Come on, she been doing nails my whole life. She been doing nails for 30 years. Them nails look like she knew.
That's
So
exactly.
that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you just say, if it's one thing if you say, girl, I'm new, I don't have this this inventory, I just started.
That's right.
That's you saying I don't have what you may be asking for because I just started. But if you just say,
and you nervous, like I'm new,
like
give me a
why
minute.
are you telling me that you knew? Because I like all the nails you posted. I wouldn't have known that you was
right. I got that.
The way you carry yourself, I wouldn't have known that you was new.
I don't have nothing posted. I'm new, so just bear with me.
That's me,
my
Brittany.
confidence.
I ain't got nothing posted, but I'm new to
that'll
the
be.
yeah.
But
That's
that
what
doesn't.
I'm like.
But the way I'm saying,
But you're
is,
offering other
I
reason.
know, but I just don't like.
I think it's the way that it's said because I've been in that situation where
they said, like,
I girl get my toes done.
That they scared, so now
like,
you're making you scared.
I'm new. That already know you about to mess the polish up. It's gonna be polished over here, bumpy, like stuff like that. It doesn't matter that you professional or what you confident. It's the way you say I'm new. That means lower your expectations. I'm new. I ain't got it. Like no. But if you wouldn't know that someone is new when they carry that level of confidence. Right. I wouldn't have known that you wasn't doing facials for years when you said, is your sinuses bothering you? If I was a new client that just walked in here, I wouldn't have known that. I would have thought you've been doing the facials because the confidence that you put into your work, the touch, the massage, the manipulation.
So with that being said, if you are applying for your first position as an esthetician, you may be concerned that your qualifications are inadequate compared to those more seasoned estheticians. So continue highlighting. Do not let this discourage you. Many employers are looking for eager self-starters. So long as you can be a self-starter, you're good. Of course, we'll know to highlight our achievements as it relates to attendance, academic, clinical performances, even volunteering. All of that looks good on your resume. So the checklist is there at your leisure. I will let you read that also. But speaking of the transferable skills on page 634, go ahead and highlight the transferable skills. We already talked about this, meaning if I was doing certain things at a certain job, not everything can transfer over, but yes, some things can transfer over. The third bullet, you don't need to know for the test, but these are just powerful terms you're gonna have to find a way to incorporate in your conversations, in your day-to-day, in your life. If you are not able to use these words as of today, February 6th, please start to consider this February 7th throughout the rest of your career. You have to be able to use words like established. I have accomplished. I was responsible for increasing. I managed. I developed. I coordinated. I emphasized. These are just action verbs that have to be a part of your career, have to be a part of your career. In addition to, I have a certain amount of clientele. I provide this service. I provide that service. There's a community component to some of these terms that you see here. So just don't lock yourself mentally in the actual service of what you're doing, but being mindful it's a full package here. And that's that community package, that development and the other projects, which can all be associated with your chosen field. Now, writing a resume, I'll let you read that at your leisure. Of course, we'll know that we can include the certain topics on that resume. The cover letter is self-explanatory, in which you'll go ahead and have that available as well. Not many people utilize cover letters these days, but for the most part, just lock into the resume and those components that's there.
Thank God, because I'm about to say they want cover letters.
Nobody, I don't know
industry.
I don't know
Okay.
anybody dives into the cover letter, but they're just making it, you know,
Right.
it is
It's
a
part of
thing.
your resume.
Yeah,
when you-
yeah, and you know, and it is a thing. Now, when it comes down to the job search, and I'm on page 636. When it comes down to the job search, most of us have had interviews before. So I'm going to walk through the job search, and then we'll stop here until tomorrow morning. With the completed resume in hand, you are now ready to represent yourself to prospective employers. The job search is an exciting process that will open up many new doors. If you had to describe the job search for you guys, what word comes to mind?
Crazy.
Anybody else? The job search. What word comes to mind?
Not available.
Between job search or the first thing that I think of?
When you
hear job search.
when you hear like
Okay.
the word job, and even your
Unavailable.
experience. What were you saying?
Pay.
Pay, job search, like pay come to mind. What would you say, Brittany?
I said unavailable.
Unavailable.
But
The whole process of job searching. Like, what comes to
Location.
mind?
It is a job.
It is a job.
Applying.
location.
Okay.
Job search is
But
a job.
mostly the pay, cause I'm not confused, but like what with like even like European and like places like those, the franchise pay
Yeah.
system is like I did not just go to school for y'all to pay me
Right.
this little bit of money, and I understand because my friend works there, so she broke it down to me
Right.
like how you're guaranteed to make more than obviously $11, but as a new waxer, you don't make that much because they don't book you to do 4 waxes in an hour. You might do 2 in an hour because you're on that slower level.
Right.
So even just thinking about it, like, aesthetics is $1 million industry and it's 2024. Like $11 is crazy. Like you just spent full-time hours, days in, days out. You paid this money for $11 an hour. You could be at McDonald's. Like that was what came to my mind when I first seen it.
I got
It was
you.
like, what?
I got you.
I ain't doing this.
No.
I could do the call center
Okay.
for more. Like
For a $10 bill and a one.
yeah, like when you just looking at it. So pay for me was kind of like the big thing. Like this is not a necessity type of job. Like people
Right.
don't have to get facials. People don't have to get waxing.
They
This is-
need.
Yeah, they want.
They need.
They need it, but they don't have to have it. Like
Yeah.
a grocery store,
Must.
that's a need. People
Right.
obviously cannot grow their own crops.
But
You
I
don't
think
have
there
space.
is still a section that where the need is, and I think that would be more so in the medical or spa type areas.
And problematic.
And
skin,
right, and I
or
get what you're saying,
problematic.
like looking at European or whatever. That's just the smaller end of aesthetics, like being a $1 billion industry. Once you get on the people who do need it, people who got problematic skin, who are going to dermatologists and who are working in these med spas, those are the estheticians who are really getting paid the most. So I did a lot of research because I was looking at I was getting discouraged
That's
too
right.
after we did that. And then I started looking like, well, wait, where can we do multiple
I got
of these things at? Where is that at here? And then it was like, okay, well, even after asking her about what is a medical esthetician here in North Carolina? Oh, it ain't no such thing. So okay, if I want to make this amount of money, I need to look at these med spas or these health clubs, health
Right.
spas,
Wellness centers.
wellness centers. The wellness centers are paying money.
Mhm.
Even that spa out here, what's the name of that hotel? It's an expensive hotel. They got a nice spa. They're hiring for nail techs and estheticians. They start them off at like $25, $26 an hour.
What are
Not Omni. It's right here.
Brand
Carry
Nova?
R
Oh, okay,
RTP.
okay.
When Umstead, yeah,
Oh, okay, okay,
the Umstead.
okay.
pull up?
So
This
it's
is
just
the-
what I'm finding here in North Carolina. Even looking at a couple other states, they pricing is different, but
Right.
here the money is we can still make it, but it's just okay. Now you're not in this real upbeat environment. You're not doing what you want to do. You may not can be who you want to be,
Gotcha.
but
It's
is
there.
out there.
It's there.
It's just where you trying to be at, but
Gotcha.
it's there.
Gotcha. It makes plenty of sense. So as we wrap it up, when we're talking about finding that salon, speaking of that, you want to be able to, and I'm still on the bottom of 636, you want to still be able to find the spa that is right for you. And so when we're trying to find that work environment, I like the way you said, you got to find one, you might have to be a little different or,
Yeah.
depending on the place, the space, and the location. At the end of the day, it still needs to fit us. And so they give us about 5 things to consider. Bullet 1 is, what is the most important consideration for me in terms of work conditions? Each individual has his own agenda. However, things to think about might include how flexible, schedule, salary, Lyric mentioned, benefits, opportunity advancements. Again, you got to be mindful what's going to be important for you while you're looking for your right place. Also, am I in agreement with the salon or spa's philosophy? While we're out searching for jobs, make sure their philosophies line up with yours. What's important to them. Some education is important to them. Yes, they want to have bi-weekly, monthly meetings, where others is like, here's your booth, here's your area, see you on each week to get your booth rent. Their philosophies are different. And so when we are trying to search for a job, these are the questions you want to ask. What is your philosophy for your salon that you own? What's important to you? And then that way you will see if this is a place that I can see myself working here or not. Another question you want to consider when we're doing the job search, or if this place is right for me. On the top of page 637, do I have another or any other obligations that may interfere with the demands of this particular situation? You got to be honest with yourself. Depending on the space, depending on the place, they may need you more often than not, or they might not have as many availabilities as you may need. So again, that is something to consider. What support will I need to ensure my success? Being able to find out via the owner, via who's working there, the manager, are they able to maybe support you in mentorship, support you in workshops, and things such as that nature. Last but not least, are there any causes that you feel passionate about? Being mindful, and this is when I was talking about community, different events associated with that. Political differences is going to be important. Personal, cultural difference, and that's going to also ethical. ethical difference is going to be important as well. So all of these opinions that you may feel strongly about, the owner of a spa may feel strongly about, it can be down to who my president is, who I love, who I don't love. All of these things are kind of something to consider as we are searching for our next steps. That will close us out for today. We will pick that up tomorrow with the qualifying your options, the interviews and all those type of things. And then that will pretty much wrap us up with 21 and leave us only 2 chapters left in the book. Anybody have any questions on that? All right, well, happy Tuesday. All right, and so in addition to that, guys, yes,